Welcome everyone to the Real Whovians Cast live stream. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Matt Rose. What's up, Matt?
Hello, this is a rarity. I've got my camera on.
That's right. So Matt Rose is going to explain to us what Moffat did recently.
Yes, first of all, it's a big congratulations. It's his first time writing for the new Doctor. While it's off air at the minute, it's the first time he's written for her incarnation.
Right, the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, yeah.
Yes, and so far it's been an amazing collection. We've had Chris Chibnall, we've had Pete McTeague, well, we've had Moffat, and we'll probably get Russell at some point doing something new, but this story is quite interesting because it's such a sweet story. It's the Doctor on her own, reaching out through the mind of like this alien creature, and it's not an alien, it's a little boy who's actually watching a television show called Doctor Who, and it's like, how on earth can she exist? Because the Doctor in it even explains that she is the character known as Doctor Who, but she can't call herself that.
What's up, Bluebonnet Whovian? How are you?
Hello. So it's quite it's quite sweet that Moffat went all that way to explain that Doctor Who is a character in a little boy's mind, but she calls herself the Doctor because she doesn't call herself Doctor Who.
Bluebonnet, would you like to come in? You want to talk briefly?
Yes.
May I ask if they want to come in?
Yeah, if anyone wants to come in, please.
You want to come in, Jason, too? No, you know what? Sunset, Albert. No, I didn't get to see the PS5 controller because I was working all day. I just got home a little while ago, so didn't even get to see the PlayStation 5 controller. We're doing the Real Whovians right now, Albert, though. Okay, yes, so let me see. Hold on, let me see how I can set them the link here. Yes. 1 second.
Because the best thing about this whole positive lockdown for Doctor Who is Emily Cook has gone back and beyond. We've had the Strax video by Stephen Moffat. We've had Russell T Davies write the brand new prequel for Rose with Jacob Dudman narrating. There's more Doctor Who content now from the old showrunners than ever before. The ones who chose to leave the show are now writing again.
Right.
So
I'm just surprised. So he just wrote this recently?
Yeah, this just came out today. Well, earlier.
So the Doctor is the Doctor in a TV show. She's not real. In other words.
In this episode, yes, that Moffat's written, yeah.
She is a TV show, Doctor Who.
Yeah, right. So basically, because of the old gag that was in a Seventh Doctor story where they had Ace by a TV and they cut it off.
Yes, Doctor Who, I remember that. Remembrance of the Daleks. Right?
Yes, with Remembrance. Yes. So it's trying to canonize that.
Oh. Yeah. But are they trying to say that, like, the show is, like, honoring Doctor Who? Like, the Doctor? Or it's like, no, that the Doctor's just a TV show?
I think it's left open to interpretation.
Because you know how in Scream, they made movies based on what happened, and they called it Stab?
Yeah.
So could this be like somebody honoring the Doctor by actually making, but it's not really the Doctor Who we know, it's different things in that universe, or no?
Potentially, yes, because reading the story, she is in the mind of a boy, so I don't know without what Moffat was thinking, but he could have basically have just done it just to have said to it, look, yes, I am a TV character, because the boy actually even says he watches her on the show called Doctor Who. So as far as he knows she's a character.
Hey, Jason.
Hey there.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
How's it going? Sorry,
all right,
I didn't mean to cut Matt Rose off.
Oh, that's okay.
Hello,
could Bluebonnet come in too?
Yeah, she's coming.
All right. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome aboard.
How are you?
Oh my.
Good. I'm hanging in.
Oh, this is so amazing. I mean, look at those wallpapers.
They're cool, right? All right, so you guys educate me too, because Matt, I was at work when I heard this happen. I made a quick video earlier. What did you think of it, Bluebonnet? Like, what
At first I was a little taken off guard because I didn't. I guess everyone's talking about how Moffat's taking
Are you talking about the story, or are you talking about
just the story in general?
Sure.
Or what my first impressions were
of the story? Yeah.
As far as when I finally read it, because I jumped to conclusions. I was a little upset at first, and then I read it, and I was like, I thought it was actually very sweet, and I didn't. And then I started thinking, why are people so upset about this? It seemed like a very sweet story to me. I mean, I think people were more upset that it's Jodie Whittaker's doctor. I mean,
you know what I think it is? I took it when I made a video. I didn't get to read it because I had to go to work, so I do a quick video. But I took it as, you know how these guys said they're never going to write for Doctor Who again?
Yes.
They're done. Never again, right? And sort of I felt, well, here it is. We have this virus. We have this thing going on. This is like their crack in time. This is like, Rassilon finding a loophole with the Master to send a White Point Star to get Gallifrey to come and free from the Time War, right? So I was like, well, maybe this is their little technicality because they missed Doctor Who. They're sitting at home doing nothing. So maybe this was like Moffat's subconscious, like he really wants to come back to Doctor Who. I didn't think that this was. I really didn't think that this was. Oh, I'm buddy with Chibnall at all.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
no,
I think people losing their crap over nothing. Personally, I mean, and look, I'm not a Jodie Whittaker fan. She's not my favorite doctor by far. But if you switched out another doctor in this, the same people that are losing it are be like, oh, this is a great little story. How sweet.
Yeah.
Yes. Not only that, we've had so many stories now for 13 being written, like her first extra little moment. Russell's version of how McGann was going to be regenerating into Eccleston. Everything is coming together, all this stuff where these
here's the thing. Behind the scenes, you have to think of it this way. Think as Moffat, right? Chris Chibnall was erasing just about everything that Moffat's done, right?
Right.
I know that regardless, yes, Moffat came and was like Russell T. Davis's right-hand man, basically, and then he became the showrunner, right? But then, of course, they have egos, and he just wants to do his thing, and he kind of undid some stuff that Russell T. Davis did. He made John Hurt the War Doctor. He did this. They had a little argument in Doctor Who magazine because he's like, why are you making it that the 10th Doctor is with, they kind of ruined things. So he was kind of a little annoyance, but it seems to me that Chibnall has been a lot buddy Russell T. Davis than Moffat because Chibnall allowed Harriet Jones Prime Minister or former Prime Minister into canon that she escaped being executed in Stolen Earth. Which, why would you do that? Like, it was a thing where he had to get his permission to do that. And he allowed it. But with Moffat, he ain't doing anything. He's just erasing everything Moffat does.
Right.
So I know in the past when Moffat is mad at somebody, subconsciously to him, but like when General Louise Coleman wanted to leave, and then, Peter Capaldi wanted her back, and he's like, okay, I'll just rip up the scripts. But it wasn't just about that. He was pissed. So subconsciously, he starts turning her into something else. Like you know what I'm saying? That's what I believe. It's always been that way.
Because Jenna was supposed to also leave on last Christmas, and then they had to change that last minute.
But they were doing Series 8 knowing that she was going to leave. So he kind of wrote her, even in Deep Breath, right? Like as a real controlling, totally different from what she was.
Her personality changed big time, especially when Danny Pink came on the scene in the next, in that same series. So she seemed to be like she was starting to kind of backtalk the Doctor, and.
But that's subconsciously Moffat damaging his own character because he's mad at her.
Yeah, and then he also killed her in Face the Raven, and then there's the time loop where she's traveling in the TARDIS, which she has to go back to that point.
But he also made it that she's responsible for Danny Pink dying because she called him.
Right.
And there was like a weird thing where, you know how he wants to go in one direction, but then he goes in a different direction? Like, she had post-its up there as if maybe she's pregnant, and she was more traumatized because he died and she was pregnant because she had all these weird notes.
Yeah,
hostess
I
notes.
remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
And originally there was going to be a thing where when she threw the keys in the lava, it's because she was pregnant and then lost a baby or something, and she's all crazy and like upset. But the thing is, he's done this also with Samuel Anderson, who was Danny Pink, because when they went on tour, he didn't like him showboating, getting dressed up and doing whatever, and all of a sudden he never brought him back. Like for
Yeah,
series 9.
because they never resolved that Orson Pink story. Because
Right,
they made
he's
out his
technically
other
still in the Nethersphere, but he never brought him back. He didn't even, so that
No,
Moffat gets it.
Orson, the one that looked like
Right,
him, but it was the other character.
But technically that's supposed to happen because that's you know what I'm saying. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I think Moffat, this is Moffat's way of saying, hey, I really don't like what Chibnall's doing.
Right.
Racing canon. I'm just going to put the story out, and then in a couple of days or week, he's going to put another story out. And I honestly feel that the way this virus, like people have a lot more time to think. Like Russell T Davis is home and Moffat's home.
Right.
And what are they doing? They're not writing Dracula season 2. He's writing Doctor Who.
No, and that's the biggest surprise.
That is a little strange.
The biggest surprise was Russell jumping on it because he stated time and time again, that's it. You'll never get any more Doctor Who stuff.
Correct.
Well, so in the case of Moffat, I mean, this story was, a lot of people are saying, or take the opinion that maybe there was a little bit of siding with Chibnall in relation to this area. Now, the reason why is because this was posted on the BBC website, and the BBC obviously had to approve. And if they sensed there was any sort of animosity or any undercurrents of, animosity or anything of that nature, that they may not have approved it. And someone was implying, well, they didn't imply, they said outright, because Chibnall was the showrunner, they felt that he would have needed to approve the story being posted on the BBC website. Of course, they didn't approve.
They approved it without him, though.
Yeah. I mean, this person's point was, well, because he's a showrunner, he has control of everything.
No, he doesn't.
No,
Well,
not over the website.
See, here's the thing. If you remember, the BBC forced Stephen Moffat to have Matt Lucas for the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Because he called him up, Matt Lucas, and says, I'll take a pay cut. I love Doctor Who. Please put me on. And they says, maybe we need to go a little lighter. And Moffat didn't like that because it was forced upon him. Just like the whole thing he turned down the Pater Noster TV series spinoff. And he ripped up the check and he talked about it. They got pissed and they offered a spinoff to the guy that did Class. And he was annoyed about that. So he's like, yeah, I'll produce it. But look what happened with Class. It was almost like it was sabotaged. Okay, so I honestly think, and he didn't even give Gnarl that many lines, by the way, too. So I honestly think that the reason why it got approved is because Sue Virtue, his wife, works for the BBC. I mean, doesn't she still? She's a big wig. She's still huge in the BBC, like still. So hey, what's up, Scott?
Nothing.
See, the way I take things different, because I'm like saying to myself, well, this is a sign right now where I honestly believe, and a lot of times I make predictions, and most of the time I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but I honestly believe if you're sitting home, you're not writing Time Traveler's Wife for HBO, which that's what we're supposed to be doing, you're not writing Dracula Season 2, you're talking about Sherlock, you're not, like, you might have them come back in a year or two, you're not writing that, but what are you writing? The stuff that you said you're not going to write about. Doctor Who. In my mind, I think that he's going to make a play to come back as showrunner for Doctor Who. I think that Chibnall's going to go. I think Moffat's going to stay. I think that Moffat he's going to be told to put it to rest. So he's going to, and I honestly believe that the BBC's probably done with Doctor Who. They'll probably have him write it for a couple years where you leave it on a cliffhanger and let it sleep for a while. Because here's the thing. All of a sudden now, Life on Mars is coming back. And Chris Chibnall was one of the writers on Life on Mars, writing for John Sim for that. They're doing another season.
Well, so, here's my impression, and this is what because if you listen to a lot of people that have read this story, and obviously it's more than obvious that Jodie Whittaker was the protagonist of this story. That's what's really killing that's what's really killing the enthusiasm of a lot of fans. And my presumption about this was when I heard about it, and I didn't even read it, I just heard about it, was that, you know, Stephen Moffat's sitting on the sideline watching what's happening with Doctor Who. This is a guy who, like him for better or worse, you know, he was what many fans consider sort of the last legitimate showrunner of this franchise. So I think he has, you know,
because he knew how to write. No matter how you felt about his episodes, he at least knew how to write Doctor Who in a manner which Chibnall is pretty much is destroying.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's you know, him sitting on the sidelines watching, and you know, my immediate thought was, and I'm probably wrong, was I think internally he was thinking, look, the fans are hungry for real writing, and they've been served this garbage. And let me show what the fans you can actually do with this era with a good writer. That was my kind of my impression. Now, whether or not he comes on board and takes over, I don't know. I mean, that would be great. Just get a new doctor, please, for God's sake. Kill her off and get a new doctor. Were you going to say something?
Yes. Well, this brings it back onto the writers. I mean, Pete McTeague, I know he's done like the infamous story like Kablam and all that. Some people like it, but you know what? The saddest thing is when you read his classic Who stuff, he gets it. He does all of like the little box set stuff. He was the one that brought Ace back. He's the one that did like Joe Grant, and he did like 13 with a hologram of Susan, something that is needed on the show. And they're putting Pete McTeague write stories that aren't up to his full potential. When he writes the classics, he puts them at the full center, and the 13th Doctor loves seeing them again.
I know. Like I said, I know I've beaten this thing over like a dead horse, but I still think what they need to do with Doctor Who is, if you want to keep Whittaker, fine, get rid of Chibnall. I still believe.
I honestly think Chibnall needs to go.
He
does. He definitely does.
And the fact that they brought in Ruth, it's sort of like a slap in the face, like, oh, look, I really didn't have very much trust in Whittaker.
That's a total distraction, because now that's a whole nother ballgame besides the
what they need to do is pretty much get away from freaking Earth. I don't care.
Well, here's the thing. I want to say one thing. I want to say that, one, do you remember how good Russell T. Davis wrote for Matt Smith and the Sarah Jane Adventures?
Yes.
How cool was that, though? Right?
Yeah.
Did you guys watch that, right? When he had Joe Grant with Sarah Jane with Matt Smith's Doctor, 11th Doctor. You guys saw that, right?
Yes.
I've actually never watched the Sarah Jane Adventure, so I can't.
He really wrote for Matt Smith's Doctor really good, because it was Russell T. Davis.
Yeah.
I would be open for Moffat to write for Jodie Whittaker, only because I really want to see. I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, because I want to see how she does under a different showrunner, so we could have a shadow of a doubt that it was Chibnall or not, or was both. I really want to see. Boom. Let's see what you do on the Moffat.
Well, actually, this isn't the first time Moffat's wrote for her. If you get the Day of the Doctor book, he's changed it with 13s in it, and it's incredible, her little scenes.
Well, it's just, but yeah, he can write for her and everything, but it's gonna how she's gonna, portray that.
Of course.
I mean, so yeah, it's one thing in a story, and that's a great start, but yeah, she's got to bring it.
Her delivery. I mean, that's why I say, look, did you ever see the performance that she gave? And I've mentioned this on a few streams, but did you ever see the performance that she gave on stage with Christopher Eccleston in Antigone? That performance was supposed to be if you listen to the fans of Jodie Whittaker, the ones who are really her supporters, early on before she was ever cast. I mean, well, before she ever portrayed the Doctor, before it was ever released. Pre-release, this was the performance. Antigone was the performance on YouTube everyone pointed to that said, "Okay, this is the Doctor. This is what."
This is what my subscribers said to me, because I was totally against her casting, and they said, "You got to see this performance; it will change your mind about her." Yeah, and I did watch it, and I did like her from that. So
for me, I saw that, and I just. Look, I'm not saying she's a bad performer. I just didn't get the impression that you know, she is a leading actress. She takes charge of the scene. She tried, but for me, watching her juxtaposed to Christopher Eccleston, the man could just stand there and for me, look, I don't want to be crude, okay, but she couldn't even stand up higher than his heels. You know, she doesn't even measure above his kneecaps when it comes to commanding a scene. He could just stand there, and he has more stage presence than she did. And I don't mean to be hard on her, because I'll be honest, she's in a show. It came out last year, Adult Life Skills, and in that show, I thought it was well suited for her. She is the protagonist, and this isn't to pick on her. You find the right role for her. I think she can be very good. I think she's a good actress with the right role. As the Doctor, you have to be commanding. You have to have stage presence. Does she have that capability? Is that in her? Can you bring it out of her? After watching Antigone, I didn't feel the Doctor. Now, I felt there was something there. Was it the Doctor? Yeah, you know, that's stretching it for me. No, I didn't. I felt Christopher Eccleston every inch of that. Yeah, there's definitely, of course, he played the Doctor. But yeah, I definitely can feel it from him and all the previous incarnations. But I just don't.
So you know
even
what,
at her best, I didn't sense that.
You know what gets me, Jason? It's like she was told, and she even said this when she took the role of Doctor Who. Chris Chibnall ordered her not to watch anything. Now, everybody else could do whatever the hell they want, right? Like David Tennant knew how to be the Doctor because since he was 5, he practiced to be the Doctor, which is great performance. Same thing like Peter Capaldi, right? But why would you tell her not to research the role? So she listened, and this is what gets me, because he is a showrunner, you have to listen to him, right? The moment they took a break, she was talking in an interview, and she's saying, I'm going to America, I'm going to take a couple months, and I'm going to binge watch Doctor Who, because now that I'm allowed to, I can do whatever I want on my break, and Chibnall can't tell her. So this is what she did. Now, you know, everybody stuck up for her. Moffat stuck up for her, and Russell and Rory, what's his name, off the Darble, because because she was researching it. Then she was trying to enter competitions with David Tennant. She was really trying to know inside and out the Master, all this. So that way, when she had the performance with Spyfall, she knew the Master because she watched all the episodes. Right, so it was believable.
That first one's been the best, and then that second.
Right, it was believable because she knew what the source material was, and she knew why she's upset or in shock or whatever. It was believable. But the thing is that even when she did the yellow thing, right, when she did the music, she said my co-workers were against it. And here's the thing: Bradley Wolfe says he wasn't against it. Mandip Gill said she wasn't against it. Tossin Cole said she wasn't against it. She said co-workers, meaning Chris Chibnall. Was pissed about it, and there was a rift between their friendship because she did yellow, and there was all this stuff going on, and it was like, you know, things changed a little bit, because then you started seeing like the Moffat subconscious that when they went to film the last episode or two, it looked like she looked stupid to the Master, like because he's a little pissed, like when they were filming it, like. She looked like an idiot. They made her look like an idiot. It's like Chibnall was a little annoyed with her. He put that shit in there. That let me park the TARDIS like 50 million miles away. You're gonna die now. Shit. It's like they made her look stupid, and then she's. Why would you ever listen to your worst, like your greatest enemy ever? She's listening to him. Like I honestly believe, and I know they don't think I'm right. Like they think no. I honestly believe he trolled everybody, Chris Chibnall. I honestly believe because the Master thought the Doctor was half human. The TARDIS could have lied to the Master. Yeah. And then everybody's like, well, the Doctor's half human because the Master said so. No. So, and now the Doctor's not half human. The Doctor's not even from this universe.
Right.
Right? I think the Master I think think conned the Master. Because
and that would be a great way. That would be a great way to
wrestle on.
Hold on, Scott. Yeah, Jason.
Well, no, I was just saying. I think that would be that was my idea when I saw the finale. My impression was, well, the Master lies. This is a deception. This is the only way you can really retcon the retcon. This is the only way you can change the canon revision, is to just basically portray it as, look, the master deceives, he lies, he's not an honest person, and this is exactly what you would do if you wanted to turn back this canon revision, this revisionist history.
I think he believes it is true, but I think they lied to him. I think Gallifrey tricked him because they're not even in the Pocket universe. They're out of it.
Then how are you going to explain Ruth then being in the past?
But here's the thing. All right. So if Davros and the Daleks could create 6 different Scarrows, right? When Scarrow got blown up from Remembrance of the Daleks, right? Yeah. So if they could recreate Scarrow, right? Why can't there be multiple Gallifreys?
How could they? Here's another idea. We haven't seen Shada. What if they were coming from Shada?
No, but I'm saying, why can't that be a different Gallifrey?
That's true. That's true.
I think it's a plant. I think because again, he regenerated from Missy. Maybe he got a little. That incarnation's a little insane. They tricked him. Because here's the thing. I don't see how. There's nothing in that Matrix video, which the Matrix was altered by the Valyard, by the way, making the Doctor committed genocide. And he didn't. So I know they know, but so. How the hell, where do you get that the Doctor is the timeless child? There's no video evidence whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
There's no evidence that shows that.
And then pass it on to the Doctor or
I would think that the timeless child is a villain because the timeless child was murdered over and over again by its mother.
You would think the timeless child would be the master.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there really isn't any link. There really isn't a link because there is a gap in the Matrix history.
There's a total gap, and there's nothing that connects the Doctor to that.
Right.
Nothing.
So why? But she's believing it on faith.
And that's stupid, though.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, and that all depends on how Chibnall will write that next series.
But it's like Peter Capaldi's Doctor thought, "Am I a good man?" He didn't know. So he just asking Clara, right? It's like this incarnation. Now she's questioning herself. Why are you questioning yourself?
And look how Moffat treated Clara after she decided not to come back. When she decided to come back,
I think that Ruth thing is something else.
She did something which pissed off Moffat, so he wrote her this way. Whitaker did something to piss off, who, and so he wrote her the way he did.
I think that Ruth is connection to the Valyard or something, and she thinks she's the Doctor or whatever, and. If the Valyard could regenerate, would it be the Valyard anymore, or would it be the Doctor? Because you had the War Doctor that was just temporary. So would it go right back to formula and be a Doctor? And that's the thing you got to question. It's like the Valyard had the keys to the Matrix for decades, as far as we're concerned. He probably lowered the time lock to let Dalek Khan in and save Davros. I mean, he had his own agenda. So, he probably tricked the Master into believing this.
I said Rassilon getting back for what he did for kicking them off.
No, it could be that too.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think I really look. I'd like to believe that when season 13 rolls around, I'd like to believe that's the way they're going to portray it, and this would be some grand con by Chibnall on the fans, and there would be a big ticket parade. I really, my sense is that he's probably not, based on the interviews I've seen and the sense that I get about him, I don't see it happening. Now, if it does happen, that would really unite a lot of fans, even though they wouldn't have been happy about.
Yeah, they'd be pissed off that we've been trolled, though.
Well, but at the end of the day, you could still at least get behind the show again and feel like you weren't being.
I don't know if we could get behind it totally.
Well, yeah, but at least the canon would be. The canon would have integrity.
Right, but then you have to solve the Ruth mystery. That's another mystery.
Yeah, because where does Ruth fit in? That was never
a doppelganger or a dupe in order.
She's a puzzle piece that does not fit.
Into the Doctor.
She could have been. Look, I know Chibnall said no, she's really the Doctor and this sort of thing. Well, if you wrote her as being from a parallel universe, a parallel timeline, something along those lines,
more sense.
That you could potentially do that, but. You're still left with. Well, I don't know if it's a parallel.
What I question is this, right? If the Time Lords could talk to Omega on your own little weird telephone from an antimatter universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then if they're sending Time Lords to hunt down the Roots Doctor, how could they not be constant communication with those Time Lords going after Roots Doctor? How would they not know that Gallifrey was destroyed when they're in constant communication with Gallifrey.
Yeah.
How could that be possible? It's not possible. So something is wrong somewhere, meaning that these Time Lords that are hunting Ruth are completely different Time Lords because
CIA
Gallifrey too. It's a planet that they left to grow like a plant, and they let some Time Lords on there to have babies or whatever. They have no idea about Rassilon. They have no idea about anything. And I think that's what they did. They planted their seeds.
Agents. There's another idea.
I think it's a second Gallifrey.
This is the problem. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, sorry. Well, let's just try to say. Well, if they're saying that these people are from the past, these Time Lords, well, what's not to say that time isn't bleeding from that point of view? They're seeing the past is their point of view. So
I don't think it's the past at all. I think it's present. I think it's just.
No. From that. Oh, I know. From their viewpoint, it's all present and past tense. But what if they try and see Gallifrey is the Gallifrey they view, and they can't see that it's all been destroyed?
That doesn't make sense if they're in communication. Look, if the Time Lords could talk to a Shilda from friggin' the street and give her the confession dial to trap the Doctor, then how could they not communicate with these hunters going after Root's Doctor? It's impossible.
This is the problem.
It's impossible.
Yeah, this is the problem with Chibnall, is that you're putting a lot of thought into this, and I just don't think he is, and I think he is. Glossing over a lot of things that really don't make sense. And
he's going to undo this because he's scared, I bet.
I really hope he does.
I bet he's petrified right now. I think, because you know what? He can't go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm glad you're optimistic. I honestly think this was the intention, was to change, because honestly, from my perspective, he feels like, this is just my opinion, he feels like he's fixing Doctor Who. Doctor Who has been riddled with nothing but white men, lack of diversity, lack of gender diversity, because the Doctor's never really been a female. We really don't see the diversity. If you look back at Gallifrey during the classic years, Gallifrey was riddled with nothing but white men, basically. So this is an attempt. If you look at the Timeless Child, if you look at all of the incarnations of the Doctor going back, from the Timeless Child, all these regenerations, they're green, red, yellow, whatever. They're just all shades, and I think that was Chibnall's. I would like to believe it is all one big troll and con, but I think
he's getting
serious.
Heat. I honestly think he's getting heat from everyone, and I think Moffat is giving him heat, but of course he's not going to talk against him because he's talking against the company. I honestly don't, because Moffat was not happy with him.
And look at the ratings and what happened to the BBC with this last episode.
No, but you remember how the speech that Moffat said that Doctor Who is for everyone, and Chris Chibnall made it completely like it's just for females or whatever it was. Like even the merchandise, it's her universe. Like he's behind all of that. Like he ruined it all. And Moffat's just shaking his head. I'm pretty sure they're all talking to him like, well,
but look at the form letter that there's. Well, it's not even a form letter. Look at the different letters that fans are receiving when they're, based on these complaints, because you can find them during various streams. You'll see these letters that are received from the BBC, and they're always defending the writing. Mm-hmm. So it leads me to believe they're behind Chibnall.
Yeah,
they're standing
they're
behind
totally
their product.
Yeah.
In fact,
I don't
if you
think
listen
they'll
to
stand much longer.
look at for example, the interview with Pierce Wanger. Right?
Wow.
Here's a guy who basically said Doctor Who has never been in finer shape, either editorially. He just, they asked him, is the show going to be canceled? He said, no, the show's not going to be canceled.
It's in better shape. Why? Because they have less episodes? I mean, anybody could do that.
Oh, it's never been,
I don't expect him to put the show down. I mean, of course he's going to promote it.
But you would think you think he would be a little more, not so just outright, just such a pure apologist. They weren't
100% on Moffat's side either. Like they were kind of conflicting the BBC with him a little bit. Oh, he's taking too long to do it. He's like, it's not me, it's this. But the thing is, look, he's bringing them in money. He's getting them deals with China with his name attached. He's getting them deals with HBO Max. So he's bringing them money they've never seen before. Mm-hmm. You've never seen foreign countries give money. And first of all, you got to think about this, right? China is against time travel and ghosts.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that changed.
Mm-hmm.
Like that for some mysterious reason. So Now they're throwing money your way, and of course the BBC is like, but they are at odds with him though. They do. There was a thing that happened last year and the year before, like where he thinks who the hell he is now because he's like on top of the world, and they're trying to knock him down a peg, but they can't really. So it's like they want a Christmas special. He doesn't. They want to just call it a Christmas special. He's like, absolutely not. Mm-hmm. And the way Moffat would handle diversity, it wouldn't be like throw everything that diverse. It would be like little things, right? But him, it's like, we need an Asian, we need a Korean doctor, we need this. It's like so fake and ridiculous. And then they're showing the male was stupid and the female is stronger. Like Moffat, like would never do it like that.
No, he was very subtle. He was a lot more subtle with it.
He did little jokes about it.
Right.
But it was like little jokes, not like, oh, this is really the way it is. But like he's just beyond belief.
I mean,
like
Missy was the biggest change I think he made.
Yeah.
Part of the pressure for the diversity and this gender pandering and so forth, part of that pressure is coming from Ofcom. Ofcom is regulating the BBC, and so they really are taking a lot of heat, probably from Ofcom, who is sticking their nose in the pudding. And so Ofcom has a lot of, they kind of have to cater to Ofcom's whims because they are the regulator, and their regulations specify, look, we need you up to this particular standard. We need you to hire, we see females being underrepresented. Well, then they got to focus on more females in their programming. Well, we also see there's not enough diversity. We need more of this color and this color and this color. So they're comparing it to other channels abroad, ITV, for example, and so
companions of that instead
from
of
on ITV, for example, ITV women are overrepresented, and ITV is the standard they want the BBC to ascribe to. So we may even see more females. So they're getting a lot of pressure from Ofcom, the Office of Communications. So that's part of what it's coming from. And so even if the BBC decided, hey, we're really not that okay with this, they're beholden to a higher power, so to speak.
Yes, and with Bradley Walsh also leaving at this point as well, I've been seeing a lot of people are wanting their speculations. They want Yaz to stay, but the interesting one I've been seeing lately is they want Jack to rejoin the TARDIS with them.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think, now we're going to go off topic with that, but I don't think Captain Jack is a thing where he would be in the season. He would be in the special, and that's it. They would have a thing. Is he going to reform Torchwood? We don't know. Maybe, but they would not have him every episode. And
there's diversity right there. Bring back Torchwood, or bring back some form of Sarah Jane adventure.
Well, they can't bring Torchwood back because Russell T Davies has total control over that.
Yes, that's what Chibnall said.
And he doesn't want it back though.
Yeah,
like it's a thing where he doesn't want it back, but he doesn't want to say on air he doesn't want it back, because when he brings it back, he's bringing it back. He don't want like a writer to bring it back from his creation, you know.
Yeah.
Now Moffat was gonna budge, and Moffat was gonna let Neil Gaiman do a Weeping Angel storyline, but that he was the only one that he was gonna get permission to. But then he got too busy. But he really don't want anybody to do Weeping Angel.
If he trusts Gaiman that much, then give Torchwood to Gaiman.
But he doesn't. But Moffat is not control of Torchwood. Russell T Davies is in control of Torchwood. Russell T Davies created Torchwood.
If you look up Torchwood Series 1, Series 2, main writer, little showrunner, basically flat out was Chris Chibnall for those first two series.
No, he's not the showrunner. He wrote an episode or two. It was Russell T Davies created Torchwood. Russell T Davies did Doctor Who Series 1, and they implanted the name Torchwood throughout the episode. Okay? They even had when they had the weakest link thing. They said Torchwood. And even if you remember the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit, right? That group, that crew in space were part of the Torchwood archives, meaning that is the future Torchwood technically right there. So they said that Torchwood, they mentioned Torchwood in season 1. You got to see Torchwood eventually in Doomsday and everything else. So that's the whole point.
No, I'm not saying he was. I'm just saying they viewed him as that.
What's up, Beef?
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
Tremendous. How we doing?
What's going on, man? How are you?
It's another day in lockdown. But I hear you're talking about the current status of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the diversity elements surrounding it.
Yeah.
Right, come on, catch.
I wanted your take. I was waiting for you to say more. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Well, no, I heard Jason saying something about Ofcom and everything like that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's Ofcom, because Ofcom is the regulatory body that covers the UK broadcasting. It's more a case of what the BBC's commitment was, certainly with regards to they got caught with their trousers down with regards to the gender pay gap and everything like that. There was a lot of that. They needed to build a lot of the diversity into it, and they had that in their yearly. It's like their annual general statement. No, it's not the budget. It's not the budget, because everyone costs the same amount of money. But it's a case of. The charter, the corporate charter, the statement that they put out every year, and they wanted to reflect that in that. But diversity isn't always a bad thing. Diversity
no, it's not a bad thing.
No,
it's a good thing, but as long as it's not forced, where it's the entire thing.
Right, based on the talent, not the color.
Well, it's a bad thing when entertainment takes a back seat to it. When you're putting diversity and gender pandering and all of these other things,
I get you have the concept of a meritocracy as opposed to it's something based on what you can do as opposed to just being cast for you being there. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. But I think you can do both. And I'm not the I'm the type of guy who has just watched the last season and said, thanks, but I'm out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not against diversity. I'm not against putting women in leading roles. In fact, I loved Alien. I thought Sigourney Weaver did a fantastic job. I mean,
but it wasn't forced diversity.
No, it wasn't forced diversity. In fact, those decisions were made in the best interest of the show. Watch the show, for example. There's a show called Yesterday. Who Bluebonnet and I have both seen the show Yesterday. It's a really great premise. They have a diverse cast. The guy who plays the leading character, he's Indian, I believe. But perfect for the role. But hire people because they're good for the role, not because they have green skin, purple skin. They have what's between their legs.
Every doctor got auditioned except for Jodie. She just got in because she did.
She did get auditioned, but the thing
there was no other else.
Here's the thing. Chibnall had said before he ever took the job, the condition was you have to cast a female as the doctor. That's the only. That was his condition.
He offered it to Olivia Colman first.
Right, he did, and she turned it down.
But here's the thing.
And then he went to Jodie.
He had already decided it was going to be a woman. Rather than choose the best person for the job, he had decided beforehand it's going to be a woman. That's the problem I have.
Yes, I have a problem too, because you get someone that's
good
for the role and they're male. They should have got the role.
Yeah, and if you're going to have a woman, pick a woman who can act, or at least is well suited for the role. I don't have a problem with the woman. Pick a woman who is well suited for the role, the best woman you can for the job, rather than she was on the same show that you were directing or writing for or whatever.
I think he's casting with what he knew and what his experience is. And by no way, I'm not standing up for the guy. But I think the biggest thing, and I don't know whether you guys feel the same, having watched the previous series, is that Joe Martin that just showed up and say, well, do you know what? If you had cast her as the Doctor, perhaps her interpretation of the material and the way she portrayed it would have been completely different, because she was amazing.
She was amazing.
She was good. She was great. She's how the Doctor
which turned some of the Jodie fans against Jodie because she was so good. Kind of split a little bit.
That's how. See, this is the problem I had with her during her first season, is that with the past Doctors, you could look back. They shot you a look to where you knew you were basically
right. She was confident. She was a doctor.
Every single time she shot somebody a look, it's like it's not even threatening.
Yeah, so it's not believable.
I would have walked over and, pardon my French, they would have slapped the hell out of her. Where they wouldn't.
she can't. I'm still looking for where's the doctor. She's not believable.
And you're staring at Joe Martin. You're staring at Joe Martin's eyes.
Joe Martin.
And you're like got a little scared a little bit. You're like, wow, she really believes she's the doctor. It's like, oh my god.
It's like she is. Before she got her memory, she looked at her and felt.
But you got terrified because you're like, wow. She just had like this aura about her.
I admit she was better when she got her memory back. Before, there's no way I could have seen the way she was, obviously, because she didn't know. But yeah, I mean, she was better. Would I still want her as a doctor? Probably not. But she's loads better.
But she had an aura about her. She was like, wow. I just had my mouth though. I was like, wow.
This is what I'm saying. You can have that change of gender. Right. But it's a case of I think I can't solely attribute the failings down to Jodie Whittaker. A lot of it I think does fall to Chris Chibnall.
I blame it on Chibnall.
And well, that's easy to do. But I think if you do it as a director, if you're a director and you're saying, well, here's the words you've got on the page, how are you going to interpret them? And you're trying to get the best performance you want to get out of your leading principal actor, and you're not doing that, and you're not convincing the audience and everything like that, then you have to say that there is, you have to apportion blame. You can't all apportion it to one set factor.
Can you imagine if they had the gal who they hired for Ruth? Can you imagine if they hired her for the Master instead of Gomez? Can you imagine what would have gone through?
Well, I think
I like Misty anyway, though.
I think in the case of I agree. It wasn't just Jodie Whittaker. I think when she was originally announced, that was the wedge. That was the wedge because look, you've got 50 years. Well, probably more than 50. You've got 50 some odd years of the man being associated with being a male. Look, you can change. I would be okay with it because I'm not.
I think they should have experimented first, personally. In other words, have a storyline to where you think, oh, the Doctor regenerated into a female, when in reality it was another Time Lord. If they went that route, people would have thought this isn't really the Doctor.
Oh, look, I mean,
experimented in that manner to put maybe the foot in the door. I think people would have been a little bit more welcoming towards
no matter what we say, she's a Doctor. They're not taking that away.
Yes.
What I don't like though, it seems like the actress of Jodie Whittaker is kind of at odds with the whole Joe Martin thing and the Timeless Children because she's getting second fiddle kind of to all this craziness. Even Sacha Dhawan's Master is dominant and the most important thing, and she's like this little part of her own show. Yeah, and I'm like, what's happening there?
It was blatantly obvious in the end scene in Spyfall about he was amazing, and compared to her,
she was scared. She didn't know what to do. She's like, oh my god, and she's like holding the door. Like, what is going on here?
Well, if you had hired, if we could turn back time and they could, let's say all these episodes had been written and they were played out with Peter Capaldi. For example, his performance would have elevated these. Look, granted, the stories themselves, a lot of the writing was lacking, no question. But I have to say, with a really good actor, they will elevate those stories.
I will agree on that point. Yeah. Peter Capaldi lifted stories that you could say would be mediocre to, that you would say are not.
He knew how to act. He knew what to take.
To a possible level, right?
He made it at least shine better.
Well, Time Heist for me, which isn't a great episode.
My favorite. I'm sorry, it's my favorite.
You're wrong, and this is why I will tell you. It's not a great story, but that's like Doctor Who doing a heist movie. Yeah, we're putting the crew together and everything like that. One thing that I do miss with the current iteration of the Doctor that we had with the Capaldi version, which was if you watch Time Heist, and I rewatched it recently because they did the tweet-long version of it. Is that all the way along you can see him sort of trying to work out who the architect is all the way through this and everything like that, and everything with the way the 13th Doctor is, it does all sort of fall in the lap, and all the bits of the puzzle are put together without there necessarily being the workout to it, and then that's not great. That's what it is. The story, you're just the Doctor is a passenger in their own story.
Yeah. Because I've always said
it's more passive. It's more passive than it is.
Hold on, guys. Let Beef talk for a second. Yeah, Beef. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm open to, you know.
I mean, I think the way they handled Jodie, they were weak with the first season. They didn't want to throw anything at her. They wanted to protect her a little too much.
Yeah.
Let her get used to it, which I thought was a mistake. Because I always said, throw the kitchen sink at her when she starts, so you can show, boom, this is the Doctor. Like, don't even give her a second to breathe. Holy crap, this Davros.
At the end of The Woman That Fell to the Earth, she should have come to her own. I mean, like, most doctors, by the end of the first episode, you know they're the Doctor, you believe they're the Doctor. They may not be your favorite Doctor, but you know they're the Doctor.
But the whole thing was with Tim Shaw, that was a whole missed opportunity because you could have showed his whole entire race. You just could have showed the whole galactic Confederate that's connected with that race and what they're all about, and him being shamed in his home world, them know who the Doctor is. They just threw that all away, and they just focused on the one person from the race, and that's it. They had so much potential they could have did with him, but he was just and then he's a senior citizen, and it was ridiculous.
Well, here's the point that I've when I do this, there's a thought, I guess a thought exercise, which is take one of your, I don't know, it could be a show you really love, show you really like, right? Take one of your favorite shows and pick mainly a show with a leading actress, okay?
Right.
Now, whatever show that is, let's think of like maybe Alien, Sigourney Weaver. Now, that was a blockbuster show. It still stands the test of time. Excellent show. Now, replace Sigourney Weaver with Jodie Whittaker. Now, tell me what that does to the level of your enjoyment, or what you imagine your enjoyment would be for that show, swapping Jodie Whittaker into that role. How would Alien, what would the legacy of Alien look like today? Would it have spawned 5 sequels? Would it be considered the blockbuster that it is now considered? I don't believe so. I think it would have been, we would have been saying, wow, that was excellent production. The Alien was great, but at the end of the day, you had I don't know if she would have brought it down completely, because there were other actors that were very competent.
Chibnall was writing at the same time.
Rather than staying on that, what you could do is rather think about a classic or a New Who story and take Jodie Whittaker and supplant her into that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or take a Doctor from the past and supplant that into one of the current series episodes.
Yeah, like Genesis of the Daleks with Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah. Yeah, take any of the, that's what I'm saying. Take any of the classic, that would be a good
well, we're going to get that in the special. We're going to get the whole entire Dalek invasion battle in Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. So we're going to get that.
And I don't think Genesis would have been as good, because she'd be walking around acting like some sort of.
I would say you could have done Genesis of the. No, Scott, I would have said you could have done Genesis of the Daleks with John Pertwee.
Yeah.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But would it have worked? Would any of the really great episodes from the classic era worked with Jodie Whittaker? Really, if she were
the way she's written, no.
Well, no, because then you're taking writing out of the equation, because you're just taking an existing thing and you're going to take her out of that and you're going to put her into that. You could, I would say, to a certain degree, you could take Jodie Whittaker out of it and put her into a McCoy episode, and it would still work.
Well, can you imagine? Now, look, for example, the episode Survival, which
You're not a fan.
I'm not a fan. I thought it was a pretty ridiculous episode. Okay, but I can only imagine. Not only do you have these ridiculous costumes of cheetah people and the whole concept, but now we have Jodie Whittaker. There's nothing to offset the ridiculousness, in my opinion. It would have just been.
I mean, Anthony Ainley couldn't have even saved that.
No, I mean, so it's stuff like that. She just, for me, look. I mean, anyone who likes her, more power to you. For me, she just brings down. The level, I don't know how to put it. She really does lower the quality in terms of acting. Maybe it's because she isn't directed.
My thing is, you take Chibnall out of the equation. You take all his writers, because he's the one who's choosing the writers out of the equation, because he's obviously not spending the money on the writers, right? Like, he's getting people that are inexperienced or never did sci-fi before most of the time. If you put Moffat in there with Moffat's people, like Gatiss and all of them, and you have them do Jodie, I would love to see that, honestly.
Yeah, but see, this is why I'm saying, this is why when Beef had mentioned let's put her in the classic episodes, this is a thought exercise that we can already imagine. Can you imagine her in these episodes that we've already seen someone who's competent performing, and imagine her in her current incarnation, her current portrayal as the Doctor in those classic, like the Damons or a Pertwee episode that everyone loves. Try to imagine Jodie Whittaker.
What about a Moffat episode, since we're talking about Moffat? Let's imagine her in a Moffat
Imagine
episode.
her in Heaven Sent, for example.
Oh, but that's, that's a little...
I just don't... look, I think...
I just think he, as a showrunner, he's a control freak, and he probably tells her how to do the mannerisms, how to emphasize the emotion, how to do this, how to do that, more than maybe Moffat would.
Basically trusting his lead actress in order to do a good job. He would rather go, okay, here we go. You do this. Oh, that's not right. Do it again.
I think he writes for an actress that he's got previous history with, and I'm not making excuses for Jodie Whittaker because, of anyone since the revival. I think, for me, she's the weakest. I do think, are there other actresses that you could have there? And that, like I said, the example that we've had with the Ruth Doctor just highlights that you could have someone who's an unknown element and actually would work against the historic writing relationship of writing for a specific actress. You could still make that work, but I just think the worst part is I think we're now like 2 seasons in with her Doctor, and if not everyone's got a connection, then there's something not working. Because if you had gone through your first season and you're not got to connect, then that's not great. If you're getting to the end of your second season and you're still not connecting with the majority of your audience, then you've got a bigger problem that needs to be addressed. That there is that point to it.
Well, I think Matrix. I think you're right, Matrix Lord, in the sense of I'm on the same page as you. I would be curious to see what a Moffat showrunner Whittaker combination would look like. That now, am I optimistic? Probably not, but I would be curious. I still would be curious.
Think, you want to know why I think it would be better? Because Moffat devotes so much of his life to Doctor Who, and Chibnall is like not as attentive to it. I mean, Moffat literally, he would be watching something and be like, I'm going to make this into an episode of Doctor Who. He'd be calling his writers, I just thought this or this. He's he's a true, a big fan. You know what I'm saying? He has a Weeping Angel in his pretty dark.
The thing is, the actors that he's worked with, right, and during his tenure, all the doctors during his tenure, you've got Tennant, right? Am I wrong? Okay. So Tennant, then you've got Capaldi. These are guys who on their own, they're just really good actors, right? So he's not. So he's working with top brass. He's you're not. He's not having to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear and direct someone who really she doesn't have any awards to her name other than I think the one she's been nominated, doesn't have really all but one award to her name. Whereas Capaldi and Tennant, you could stack them on a wall.
Though. He could shape Jodie Whittaker like he shaped Karen Gillan.
Well, you could, but you got to have potential. You got to have
Karen
potential.
Gillan, come on. He shaped a lot of these actresses to be really good.
Look, here's the thing though. I think you're right. Here's the difference. Karen Gillan was a companion, and I think Jodie Whittaker would make a great companion. I think he could shape her into an excellent companion. As the Doctor, I don't know that Karen Gillan would be able to pull that off.
I don't think she could be a Doctor. No, but
no. But I think Jodie Whittaker would be companion level material. She would make. I always thought she would make a really great companion, though, to somebody like Capaldi, to someone like Tennant. That would be perfect. I'd be completely on board with that.
What I always said is what they should have done is made her as a spun-off Time Lord.
Like maybe Romana series. Even. I'd be okay if she was Romana.
Had her spun up on her own, so that way while one was on hiatus, you had the other on, then you'd have 2 specials, and when you did a crossover adventure, you wait till like maybe between like the 5th and next to the last adventure. That way, people will be looking forward to that. But yeah, she should have been, my opinion, she should have been a spun off another Time Lord.
Well, you know what?
That would have helped a great.
Here's the thing: we could say what ifs and whatever. She's the devil, right? Here's the thing. Now with this virus thing going on, we don't even know. Hold on. With this virus thing going on, we don't even know if they're going to be able to film at all this year. In fact, we don't even know if he's really writing the episodes to completion right now. What's happening?
No. It would have been written. It would have been written because usually they were planning to do the sit down and do the table reads at the early part of this year. This year, and then going to production. But
they didn't do that though.
Summer, no. Well, no, they might have done an initial table read and everything like that, but they pretty much will have had the scripts all in place because you need to do the contracts of, who we're going to hire, special effects. You need to allocate budget.
You think they got that far already though?
Yeah, because all that stuff has to be worked out a year in advance. Because
you have to understand, they did series 11 and 12
being written during the this last season.
They did series 11 and 12 supposedly around the same time.
What the writing?
Now this is a completely different thing. Now they just flat out doing series 13 right now, unless they're doing 14 too.
When Jodie's first series was airing, they had already written the next season. That was the end of the year because then they went into filming the start of it. That's what it is.
Right.
That was already written. So, like I said to you before, your second season of Jodie would be taking it. It wouldn't have had the benefit of seeing what people had reacted to it because
Correct.
It would have already been written to fit in within production schedules.
But now we would have a difference in series 13.
Yeah, now you've got the benefit of having that period of how did people react to that first year. Not necessarily as much the second year, but they would have already sent out the template of what they want for the scripts to form the series arc. They would have already done that. They would have already had that back. Probably now where we are, there would have been backwards and forwards, and it will probably be going through the very last stages of script revisions now because things have just been delayed. But at this point, they would have already set in contracts of who they want to do special effects, where they'd want to go on location, who they would want to do, this, that, or the other.
But that's not happening now.
And plus, a lot of those scripts.
It's not happening, but it's just
it's all delayed. Everything is delayed.
It's on pause. It's on pause like the rest of the world.
But that's what I'm saying. If it's on pause, then you can't and if it's unpaused for September,
but they're not gonna say, well, all of a sudden we're gonna change it all. Yeah, ain't gonna be like that.
So we're gonna get the special, and then who knows when we're gonna get the next series?
Yeah, that's it. It's just gonna be whenever it is. It's like you're expecting
January 1st.
You're expecting a DVD box set to come out at a certain point in time, but now it's paused.
You're gonna get
everything is just basically pushed.
You're gonna get a special January 1st, and then you're not gonna get Doctor Who until 2022, probably. Series 13. Yeah.
Late next year, I would guess.
If you film in September, you get it in November.
If anything, it probably works in the favour of the BBC, to be honest with you, because it just means the budget gets pushed back and pushed back and pushed back.
Unless they do specials, which we don't even know if they're going to do that. As far as I'm concerned, it's a full 10-episode series that is part of the contract.
There's no set contract. The only thing that I can take is that there was that survey that went out and said, how would you feel about it being a split season? Now, obviously, the world situation being what it is, that may change it.
With HBO Max and all that, it's 10 episodes series 13.
HBO Max is just the same thing as the China.
But China. Well, also they have to film it.
HBO Max is just a first refusal screening option in the same way as the China deal is.
Yeah, but even with China, they're supposed to film in China. They can't film in China now. Obviously.
No, they're not filming in China. Why would they be filming?
They are filming an episode in China. they are filming an episode in China, but that's
they
not happening.
They ain't got the money to do that.
No, that was part of the deal. It was part of the deal. They're going to film an episode in China.
No,
don't forget, he kind of broke the contract because he promised them a series every single year, and then he didn't get a series until 2019. It was already like.
Joe, you got it wrong. That is not the deal. The deal is that the deal with
5
China,
series, 5 years. This is what he promised originally.
The deal with China, go and find this out. Go and check this. The deal with China is that they have got the broadcast rights for everything before Jodie. Yeah, so everything that is New Who, so everything since Eccleston up until Jodie, and everything up until that current point where the deal was signed, and then they have first refusal to air it.
No, the China deal they have up until series 15. It was put into the article. No, all right, we do agree to disagree, but anyway,
yeah.
Well, anyway,
and that's nothing to do with the creative. That's just the terms of the deal.
Whatever, that could be worked out, but. The thing is, now everything is in a loop, really. It's not even just Doctor Who. It's all over the place. Like, episode counts for seasons are getting cut short. We really don't know how long this is going to last. This corona thing has affected everything.
Are you frustrated or somehow disappointed or put off?
Me?
Well, yeah, either one of you or anyone else. Are you guys disappointed? I mean, I get the sense that maybe you're disappointed that it's being pushed back.
I'm not.
I'm just... Yeah, I'm disappointed.
I have no feeling towards it whatsoever because I've stepped off the train till Chibnall's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My feelings on this are very clear. So yeah, people say to me, you say this, you're gonna watch the New Year special. No, I'm not.
No, I'm done as well.
That's it.
Maybe I'm stubborn. Maybe I'm intellectually deficient. But I'm of the mind.
I never said that about you, Joe.
I know.
Ridiculous.
That's my famous words, intellectually deficient. But I am of the mind.
I just say you're ill-informed.
I'm of the mind. No, I was just using my own words against me. I'm of the mind that Chibnall trolled us and I gotchas. And he's not that bright to keep it going that way. And he's going to show us how wrong we are for thinking that the Timeless Child is the Doctor. I honestly believe that because there's a lot more stuff to go over, and the Ruth thing is going to be a lot more important probably than the Timeless Child.
Yeah, look, I'll tell you what, if you wanted answers, it's all going to pay out. But
the Timeless Child is not the Doctor.
Is it worth it for you guys? No, it's not.
It will be worth it for me to save
I'm glad
canon sacred.
If this
I don't want to throw 57 years in the toilet. How could one episode that's like a freaking master speech throw out 57 years of Doctor Who and flush it in the toilet? I can't accept that. I don't think anybody's that good to do that as a writer.
If this turns out to be exactly what it appears to be, if Chibnall is dead serious, and this is not a con and not a troll, and he is serious, and he goes through with this, and 13 doesn't live up to what you believe it's going to be, what will be your reaction? Because that's what I believe is going to happen. It's not a troll. I don't believe it's a troll.
If this happens, honestly, because it's affected me.
Go on. For me, he's basically built himself in a parachute. It's an inbuilt reset button.
It already affected me because we did a cast with Beef, and me and him were kind of done with the whole situation, and I didn't really do the Real Whovians cast for weeks. And you could say maybe it's because all this stuff that's going on.
I love to feel that I gave you them Jones.
Yeah. No. But the thing is, I deleted Doctor Who pages. I sort of cut myself off from the whole. I had run they know I ran way too many pages for Facebook. They always made fun of me, but I had dumped just about every Doctor Who page there was, with the exception of the Real Whovians Cast Interactive, and I still work with Scribe with his pages. But I just got so fed up with the whole thing, and I was doing everything shows. I'm like, we're not going to do the Real Whovians Cast. We're not going to do Real Whovians Cast, and I was just so upset with the show. And now we get this whole thing with the virus, and not only do we have to deal with the trauma of we're losing a lot of loved ones every day, and I have to work through this stuff, but all the favorite things that I love is going away. Like, comic shops are done. The comic book industry right now is done. It's like, you don't think it's going to come back. And some of my favorite businesses run by my friends.
You're not buying the new Warriors comic?
You can't buy any new comics.
Wow.
The distribution center
No,
is not.
the new Warriors.
Oh, I would never buy that, by the way. I would never buy that crap. No.
Oh, shit.
Oh, come on.
So
No,
let me get. So let me see if I
save
understand. If this turns out not to be a drill,
Right.
are you done?
I would be very devastated because, again, Doctor Who shaped me into what I am, like what I do. I like writing. I like sci-fi. I was a kid. I was like basically in kindergarten watching Doctor Who. You know, I found it by accident on my UHF channel. At my grandmother's house.
Was it
on channel NJN, New Jersey Network,
yeah.
channel 58. And then I was like, you know, because I turned the dial. There was another dial. I'm like, what's this? And I turned the dial, and we had the antenna with the tinfoil on there. And I'm like, seeing that. I told you, like, it caught my eye.
I remember you said the Pyramids of Mars was your first episode, Joe.
That was, and it affected me, and it shaped me. And then I wanted to see other things. Dad, take me to see this. And the movies, take me to see this.
Switched on expecting to watch the goodies, and this was back in '83. So it was the local PBS station with me.
Right. But it's to me, it's like eating, sleeping, Doctor Who. It's like almost another arm or a leg. It's an appendage of me. This is not like it's just a TV show. This is part of me.
To go what Jason was saying, and I think Jason, and I wouldn't like to Bluebonnet Whovian, to be honest with you, because she looks extremely young, so I don't like to offend
I'm
younger
not that
ears.
young. I'm 47.
Yeah. Hey, look, I wasn't asking for your Tinder profile, but I respect you. But you know, to equate it to something, if you find out that all of a sudden, Peter Capaldi steps out of the shower and it was all a dream,
Stop it!
It would be a massive.
And I remember watching.
It would be a massive exercise in hubris, and that's the worst thing. Is I think that's what it is. As for me, the previous showrunners added to the legacy rather than wanting to they wanted to add to it rather than make their stamp on it and say this is me doing it. And that's the only difference that I feel with the current show, because it's a case of Chris Chibnall would say, no, I want to say this is when Chris Chibnall made Doctor Who. And that's the worst. That is the worst part for me. It's a case of get out your own fucking way.
Yeah, Chris Chibnall is, it's more than just he's putting his mark on it. He is genuinely changing. He is trying to change the DNA. He's changing. He's attempting to change the genetic code because he feels it was always flawed. There was always a flaw.
During Colin Baker's era, so it's like there's a chance of going, okay, that's a
TV appearance that came back.
Oh yeah. You're talking about Pip and Jane Baker, right?
Yeah. Colin Baker.
So when we see him criticizing Doctor Who, the young Chris Chibnall, if this is his vision of what Doctor Who should have always been, then shame on him for ever even stepping forward to criticize the show.
This is a job compared to like Moffat. Like this is a job for him, I believe. Not like he thinks about it at night. But I honestly believe
it's a payday. It's a payday. Right. Fingers in the till, cash back.
And he's already he's got probably deals when Doctor Who is over. But I honestly think, and again, I'll come on here and I'll say I'm wrong if I'm wrong. I honestly think when we see the end of Series 13, everything's going to be revealed. The Doctor is not the timeless child, and the main focus at the end of that is going to be if Jodie stays, Ruth, and the 60th anniversary. So I honestly think this is going to go away. He never said flat out. He just let the fans talk, and I honestly think this is going to be done. And it was a big. I never said she's the timeless child. You guys said that. And it's going to be a whole thing. You believe the Master? The Master lied.
I think every showrunner, when they hand it over to whoever the person is going to come after them, they want to say, right, okay, well, here's a reset button that will put it back to you've got this. Yeah, you can then go on and do what you want to do. And this is where it had been nicely put in, it had been adeptly put in. You can actually see where the breaks in the page are right now. So you could say, well, this is where I'm putting in my reset button, because when I'm out after 65th anniversary, or the 60th anniversary, then that's it. I'm gone.
There's something else I love.
I'm pressing this button that I put in now.
There is something else I love just as equally as Doctor Who, which is hardly ever said, and that's Spider-Man. And when we had a thing years ago where Dan Slott killed Peter Parker on like Stan Lee's birthday, and Doc Ock was in the body, I flipped out like you wouldn't believe. So much video, so many podcasts that the writer of the damn comic, Dan Slott, reached out to me on my YouTube channel, and we had a dialogue for a while after that, and we became we talk from time to time. I would go for his signings, and he's like, hang in there, and I stuck in there, and they resolved it, and Peter Parker was back, and he wasn't dead, and it was like reset, and it was done.
I'm glad about that, because I think Dan Slott said some horrible things on Twitter at one time, but
well. There was a lot of things we talked about, especially when but to deal with the devil. It wasn't his fault because he took over after. But
one more day. Yeah,
one more day. But I have to say, I was very destroyed and upset about that. And I honestly think this is the same scenario. And it's funny speaking about Dan Slott, because Dan Slott's storyline is very similar to the Timeless Child, where Ben Reilly was murdered 25, 26 times over and over and over again and brought back to life on the table. And it's sort of like the Doctor's adopted mother or the Timeless Child's adopted mother murdering the child, regenerating, murdering over and over and over again. And that was from the Clone Conspiracy from Spider-Man, if you check it out. But honestly, I think this is going to be done. The Doctor's not the Timeless Child. And then we got other things to worry about, because the thing with Ruth is going to probably be bigger than that. And then you're really going to get into weird, hazy territory, because if she is a doctor and if she is from the past, is she like the second Doctor went on missions, got hurt and regenerated, and they had to reset it, or what? So I don't think she's before William Hartnell either, but I honestly think that the 60th anniversary.
Right, if I can make a point regards the Joe Martin Doctor, if you're going to have your first, apart from obviously Peter Davison, if you're going to have your first on-screen Doctor of Colour, you really haven't done her much of a service at this point in time.
Look how
she could be a future Doctor.
You've basically given her a very small amount of screen time. It's so she hasn't really had much to do or much development. And a very good friend of mine, if you're familiar with a literary thing, and if anyone's offended by this, I apologize in advance, but there's a literary term called the magical Negro, which would someone will show up in a film or a story, and there'll be a person of color and will give you something and then disappear to it, but there's nothing else to their character, and basically that is it. And that's what they've done with the Joe Martin Doctor. So they actually have done her character a disservice, to be honest with you. They should have gone with her from the start.
Well, maybe she's a future Doctor. I don't know, but
look how far Chris Chibnall has pushed the envelope. He didn't. This is why I think he's serious. We've got the first female Doctor. Okay, this was the first. This was the first clue. Second clue is, outside of the show, he's made it a point to hire diverse writers. He's really harped on that, and you can. This was part of his. I don't know if it was a condition, but he certainly made it a point. Made it very clear that, look, I'm hiring. We have behind the scenes. We have a diverse range of colors in our writing department. That's a big point he wanted to make. In addition to the fact that it was a condition that the Doctor be a female. So there are clues about where his intentions lie in terms of the writing. I think this is an indication, wanting a female Doctor. Well, it's not so much of a stretch to imagine that if that's part of the writing, I can imagine that he would also want to incorporate that same sort of diversity into the history to, alter the DNA, so to speak. And,
I don't think he's going to do it. But.
Well, okay. But if he does that, if let's say, for example, you knew right now that this was his intention, that this was not a false alarm, that it was a done deal, if you had advanced knowledge of that, and before season 13, right now sitting in your chair, how would you feel about the upcoming season?
Well, I would be very vocal, doing tons of casts talking about it.
Would you be upset about how long it's being delayed?
I would be massively upset if this sticks and it's delayed and everything. If it just happens to be that's the way he leaves his mark and this is set in stone, I would be very devastated.
One thing you can't get back, one thing you can never get back is momentum. One thing you can't get back is momentum.
That's right. The longer you're off air and now you have the fan base divided.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it. It's
already have the fan base divided. You already not only you split them in half, but the people that like Jodie Whittaker is now split half with Joe Martin.
Yeah.
So you're in splinters right now.
You fractured, you polarized.
And thank you for giving us a charity case of a special in Christmas or New Year's, but we still have to wait another year after that. So it's and the shitty merchandise too. Everything all around connected with the show. You're gonna have pretty. I mean, people are gonna tune in to see is this gonna be the way it is, but they're not gonna tune into the whole season. They're not gonna tune into the fillers. They're not. He's only back for the special. They're gonna only. They're not gonna tune in for the fillers. And I went and met friggin' this one, and I met this one, and now we're going here, and we got a Yaz story one every 3 years or something. But like, they're gonna be. People are gonna just want to tune in from the beginning and then the end, and everything in the middle. They're not gonna really care.
They want to know it's okay.
And the ratings will go totally in the toilet, beyond belief.
If I think part of it is guys like myself, Bluebonnet, Noel, guys like that are really not expecting this to go in any other direction than the trajectory that it's currently headed. There's no looking forward to season 13. That's why I think you're kind of anticipating this, because you tend to believe, holding out hope, that this will turn out for the best, that this is a con.
But here's the thing, though. I may be that way, but I have not been handling this well. Like Noel, I think Noel's handling this a lot better, because Noel is doing every single video known to man every single day, like 3-4 videos a day. I just lost, because I'm on the bottom of my head, back of my head, I'm like, what if this stays the way it is? And I started getting panicky, like, oh no. And I don't want to talk about Doctor Who. I don't even want to watch it.
I think what it is now there's a point that has been reached, and I'm a guy who's always been there for the show, and you will always watch it in the hope that maybe next week will be different. Maybe next week, and I think with Jodie's first season, you watch that and said, well, this week's wasn't great. Maybe next week's will be better. Then you got onto the second season, and there were a bit. You're going as an upscale from down there to up there, which really isn't that much of a big jump. But I'm just at the point now where it's like, that's it. I'll leave it now, and that's it. And I'm a guy who's been here for a very long time.
Yes.
And that's it. I think there is. And
you're not holding out any presumption that there's hope around the corner in the form of season 13. Do you believe? I mean, are you as Joe believes that?
What's his name again?
Joe. But do you believe?
Yeah.
As Joe believes that season 13 will turn this ship around. Are you under that presumption?
I've now I've lost interest now, because the fun point has gone out of it now.
But if they turn this around, if they turn the clock back, if they undo the thing that they've done, and set canon right, that opens the door for the way. If you don't do that, then you're really the wedge. It's done.
I honestly believe he's going to do that.
Till the guy writing it or the guy doing it changes, I'm just going to step out.
No, but I mean,
if it carries on past this guy, then great. Do you know what? I'm happy. I'm hope my show doesn't go away. Mm-hmm. But for everything there is a season, and I think that's what it is. It's a case of, well, do you know what? You've just got to be to your own self, be true. Because I Have I given it a chance? Yeah, I have. Did I stick around to see whether it made those improvements and everything like that? And it's sort of like, well, how much? Yeah, how many more chances do you give? And I don't think that's a bad fan perspective way to be. I think, do you know what? I've done it. I tried it. Do you know, if you're a fan of the classics, do you know what? I like this Doctor more than the other Doctor. Well, do you know what? I won't bother watching that one. I'll go back and watch the next one. Now, if the show goes away, then I can't really do anything about that. That's out of my hands. But do I say, well, I'm going to push for a product that isn't appealing to me, or that has stopped becoming fun, or stopped being what I enjoy? Then that's it. I can't be self-contradictory. I've got to stay on that. I
understand. I understand that. If they were to undo the damage they've done to the canon right now, it would allow for, let's say, another showrunner to come in with new cast, and that could certainly revitalize the show. But if they carry on and don't undo the canon, and then they introduce another showrunner, new cast, let's say the cast is great, let's say the writer's great, but you have that canon hanging over your head. Still, how's that going to work?
It's not going to work.
The thing is, that's why it won't happen. When you get a new showrunner in, there'll be the big reset button that will say, "Well, you can either take it or you can either throw it away." And that's the.
But the damage will already be done by the time series. Then nobody's gonna. It might be canceled. Who knows? Like, you can have a whole series 13. People are gonna get pissed, and then it's gonna take a long time for it to come back from momentum. But
that's it. Now it's just a big crapshoot. That's all it is.
See, when I started this channel,
and that's sad. That's sad because you think that there's something that we've all held dear for many years, and it's just like, well, do you know what? We got to play fast and loose. I said with Jodie's first season, go hard or go home. They didn't. They went soft, and
they didn't want to challenge her.
And then they tried to sort of up the ante. But they upped the ante perhaps in the wrong way. They tried to over it.
I started this channel talking about Doctor Who. 99% of the content on my show, on my stuff, was Doctor Who. Before I even did podcasts. This is the 1,783rd podcast of the Real Whovians cast. Do I think I'm going to have 2,000? I mean, as it is, there's a lot of videos about Doctor Who.
I remember the very low numbers.
And you've done hundreds and hundreds with me. So...
maybe less.
It's to me, like, now of course I do other things on the channel, like the Everything Show and everything else, but the thing is, I want to believe. I want to be an optimist. I want to believe. I want to believe that this is going to be fixed.
Bless you for being so optimistic.
I mean, I could be. Listen, I'm in denial.
Though sometimes you just have to walk away. Sometimes you just but it's different for everyone.
Take a break and then come back.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I think saying that. Listen.
But that's not to say I handled it well. I handled it badly.
And said, if you love something, you have to let it go.
I've handled this badly.
I think in your case,
if your love is true, it will come back to you.
Joe is sort of the mind that, hey, look, if there's any chance this can be rectified, then I'm not gonna abandon the show. I think that's kind of where he's.
I hope he's right. I really do. I would love for you to be.
I don't think I would be a writer if it wasn't for Doctor Who. I don't think I would be a published author for Doctor Who. Like, this is part of me. It's like my heart, So, like, it dying. It's different. It's like Game of Thrones. They threw that away.
Putting a plug for the book now, Joe.
No, I'm not putting a plug. I can't put in a plug for the book now, especially with everything going on. There's more important things. But, like, I just don't think it's not like with Game of Thrones, they screwed that up and that's done. Okay. Or Star Wars, or okay. But this is Doctor Who. There's a whole different ballgame with that, Doctor Who, because since I was 5, for crying out loud, 5 years old. Like, I'm 46. So it's a long damn time. My whole life is Doctor Who.
Over 56.
Thank you. Well, I look a lot older with the way I look, but that's fine. But, like, I don't know. I've handled things badly lately. Even Scott knows. I've had a massive problem with it. I talk to him every day. I was like, I don't want to do Real Whovians cast. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to. And I've been getting rid of pages. I'm getting rid of things. But like, there's a part of me that like says no. It's gonna be fine. He's not that great, Chibnall. This is a freaking sham. He's tricking everybody. There's no way he's gonna keep it like this. If I'm wrong, I'll come on here gladly.
Okay, here's a notion. Think back from the day in which Doctor Who returned. Think of every episode and look at how every single showrunner has given you that pause for a moment. Like, what the hell they were thinking? Think about that. You had the Bad Wolf from the first season, and then from then on,
I know.
Like who was the bad wolf?
I don't think he's doing it. I think he's laughing his ass off, and everybody on Twitter is like, "Oh, I love Doctor 30 and 29 and 28," and they're coming up with all these stupid charts, like there's 30 doctors and all this stupid shit that's getting me annoyed and getting me pissed. And now there's some idiots making the timeless children T-shirts. Please don't stop that. Stop. Right? And everybody's just like, it would be great if the Master and the Doctor were romance. Shut up.
Oh, no.
Like, I'm just so annoyed with everything. So, like, none of this garbage. I don't want to see no Twilight Doctor, none of that stuff. So, I'm just like, oh, God. Scott knows I'm handling this badly. I mean, it take like a month for us to do the Real Whovians cast, right, Scott? Like me and Beefhead did one. It was like, oh, we're all sad and shit. And it's like, but I'm trying to like it's like, no, optimistic. It's gotta be. And again, if it's wrong, I'm gonna be devastated. I'm gonna be on here.
Are you saying you're red, white, and who? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be probably drinking. If like I will probably get crocked on.
Put down the root beer.
And I don't really drink that much.
The last thing I would want to do is bring your optimism down a notch. I can only express my opinion and from my perspective. And look, you know,
if people enjoy it, great.
A lot of people are very aware that I'm sort of what you would call just a what do they call it?
You're a casual viewer.
Yeah, I'm a casual viewer. I'm a normie, as they say.
Yeah, but you are that target audience that they wanted to get on with.
Right, and so this is look from my unfiltered perception. I don't have this. Look, I'm not passionate about Doctor Who. I like Doctor Who. I'm not passionate though, so I don't have any sort of bias one way. I have no dog in the fight. From my unbiased perception of Chibnall, based on what I've read, I think honestly, if he were to pull the punch on this, the backlash that he would get from the people that he's attempting to woo into this. Well, I know you say don't care.
Who cares?
I know
because
you say that.
Ultimately, if you fix it where it was never really broken in the first place, you just tricked everybody. I don't care if that comes out.
No. If this isn't for you, I'm saying the backlash that he knows knows he would receive. This is not a drill. I'm telling you right now. Look,
but is it more the backlash from us?
No.
That we don't like it than these new fans that just started watching a year ago.
He knows he's getting a backlash, but this is an attempt to jump on the politically correct train. He's riding the agenda train. This is not about look. The old white guys are going to die off. Okay, that's really kind of the ideology here. Us old white guys. Us old guys who ascribe to, we need our doctor to be a male. We need our doctor to be, have these characteristics. These are things that from the left, and I don't know what your affiliation is political, but these are the characteristics.
I have no affiliation.
I just want to see my doctor, man. I don't want to like my doctor.
I understand, but these are the characteristics that guys like him, guys like Chibnall, they're foreign. They see this as, I'm telling you, Chibnall is not a, we really do deep down. I know we need a male doctor.
I just want to find out the person that beat the shit out of him in school where he hated men. And I want to find that bully and I want to prevent him from existence. Because obviously.
Terminator style, right?
Right.
Yeah, I would like to believe you're right. I would like to believe there is hope. I don't. I just, honestly,
I'd like to just go back to Doctor Who being fun with
just to entertain us.
Imaginatively written stories, regardless.
Well, because here's the thing. Okay, the woman Dana, what's her face? The woman who's writing for.
Are you talking about Dana Schwartz? Who's writing
Dana Schwartz? She-Hulk, okay, Dana Schwartz is writing the
She-Hulk.
The She-Hulk.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started with that.
Okay, so this
got halfway through that thing.
Dan Slott wrote for She-Hulk way before she did, but okay.
This is the group of people that Chibnall would he fits into very well. He's got this same outlook, which is these should be a platform to change the world. This is not a platform for entertainment. This is a social engineering experiment. This isn't about entertainment anymore. Not for guys like Chibnall and Dana Schwartz. Dana Schwartz had made it clear. If you look at her tweets, I was turned on to this. Look at her tweets about, say, South Park. Remember those?
We're going to be talking about that on there. I know all about her stuff, and I have a lot to say about her. So this whole thing
with thinking South Park should be...
I think with regards to Doctor Who has always been able to do it, but it's been through the form of allegory, metaphor, and it's been, it's been transformative because you are taking it and you are thinking about a time when you were trying to work past the censors in the same way that Star Trek did. You were trying to work past the censors and fitting it into the story rather than being blunt-headed. Which it has to a certain degree become now,
right?
But you can still do it the way it was in integrating it to be part of the story, and then it's interpretive to the viewer, and they can take away something and learn from that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point now. The point is that it's a case of, well, do you know what, you can have your own personal preference, your own personal leanings and everything beyond that, but you incorporate it into the story to a degree that it is interpretive to the viewer.
Have the lesson be something like a subplot which sparkles through instead of going, here's the plot, here's what we want to teach.
This is why I say entertainment takes a backseat to whatever you're using this as a platform for. It's taken a backseat. The entertainment is no longer the objective. And it is no longer the objective.
And it needs to be the forefront.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is just it's
that's
just
it, and that's it. If you can watch it on one level and enjoy it as an entertainment, that's great. If you want to learn a lesson from it and take it from it, that's another level. That's great. It's like peeling the layers of an onion.
Well, unfortunately, it'll be 9 months before we see Doctor Who again, and another year after that. So. We will be talking about.
Let's come back in that month.
No, we're going to be doing everything shows about the comic book industry because that's, Doctor Who. Unless like Moffat creates 20 stories, even if he created 20 stories of Doctor Who short story, it's still going to be 9 months till Doctor Who and another year before Series 13 or less. So all this stuff right now we're going to be talking about obviously is with.
Can I say something though? I think that it is nice that when we are in a time of I like to think where regardless of how you're viewing the current version of the show, you can still have all the other previous episodes that they're doing these tweet longs for, and I do think everyone has got behind it in one way, shape.
I do like that.
And I think there is that you can connect with people in this way.
And I think people are liking this a lot more than, seeing like 11th Hour and seeing Vincent and the Doctor. They're liking this a lot more than Chibnall's own product.
Do you think Whittaker's Doctor could work in Big Finish though?
No.
Oh God, please no, not with that voice.
If I ever saw, first of all, you wouldn't see her before Capaldi. Yeah. Like himself. But I think they shouldn't even be thinking about that.
Because they did a lot of stuff with Colin Baker that you would not have thought possible.
Well, you guys turned me on to that. You turned me into audios to change my opinion about Colin Baker.
Yeah, exactly. So never say that.
You were right about that, and I was wrong about that.
Never say never, Scott. Never say never.
No, you guys did turn me to that. So.
Knowing how much I detest her accent and the way she talks, I don't think it would do me any favors unless they were to...
the accent throws me big time. I don't know if I could listen to that for...
But you don't have to listen to her at all because it's going to be a long time before you see her again. So.
But I love how you can understand...
You could have a Margot Robbie accent doing the Doctor, doing her Harley Quinn accent.
So. I didn't even see that. No. I know Connor wanted Phoebe Walker-Bridge as the Doctor, but...
Screw Connor Farley.
Ah! All right. I know it's been long.
All right.
Listen, thank you. Guys, I really appreciate you coming on for the first time. Thank you so much.
It's an honor.
No,
thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I had
Appreciate
a great
it.
cast
Yeah,
with you guys. You guys are
look at
awesome.
these amazingly rendered photos, and look at this ugly mug. Yeah,
Well, look at this. Look
Not
at
at
the
all.
profile of this.
Not at all.
yeah, Scott, you did tidying up and everything like that. You brushed your hair.
Well, I got an
love it.
Avengers. I got an Avengers Endgame
It's
t-shirt.
called brushing it back because it's going to be. I'm starting to look like Cousin It. From
All right. Hopefully, we can get you guys on the Everything Show and we can talk about She-Hulk and all that other stuff and all the
that would
current
be fun.
trends. All right.
Oh, shit.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
All right.
All right, guys. Take care.
Have a
Bye
good
for
one.
now.
Nice meeting you guys.
Bye.
Baked
Nice to meet you
potatoes.
too.